Lady Gaga, Chris McCarville. All right. How well did you guys know each other before this whole thing started?
We did not know each other.
So this idea of letting somebody into your life and having have you seen the film?
No.
I've seen it. He's got a lot of stuff.
Yeah. Well, I was there. I knew when he was filming.
Comfortable getting to that place with him. How was that?
You know, I think the comfortable aspect came in because he was so respectful of my space, even when it was very private moments. I really didn't know he was there. And I don't know for sure I wouldn't have been able to do that if he hadn't had that wonderful demeanor with all of us. He really became part of the family. And yet, I don't really know him very closely as a friend. I know him as a filmmaker that was on our team for a period of time and still is and was documenting my life.
That's a balance to try to strike, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, to be able to be familiar and comfortable, but not overstep or become where she would become overly aware of me and my camera. That was something that was very important.
But there's moments like questions and trying to get to the heart of the story. Even though you didn't really notice them, you must have been aware that there was something going on.
Yeah, I mean, I knew, especially the first day, I was like, are you sure you want to be here? This is so boring. But, and I was aware of him for maybe a moment, but he very quickly got to know, I think, the way that I am. And, you know, having cameras in your face a lot is difficult. And so why on top of that would I want to have one follow me all the time, every single day, unless it was somebody that I was really excited to see artistically how he viewed my life.
Why tell this story now? Like, why did you think this was the right time to do this?
I think it's just circumstances to a certain extent. I never got the impression from her that she was needing a documentary. In fact, she was kind of a reluctant participant to a certain extent the whole time, and still is. Like, I think that it's a difficult thing to let somebody into your life to radio out a picture of what it's like to be you. And I think that it happened, slowly and organically, and there were points where, at any point, really, she could have pulled the plug on it and say, I don't want to continue to do this, but she allowed it to happen until, we had a finished film that I'm really proud of and grateful for.
What gave you the sense that this was the right thing to do now?
I think it was the reaction of my friends and family that saw it after the first few rounds, quite a few rounds of editing had been done. They told me it was beautiful. My best friend since growing up, Bo, who's here with me on the road, she watched it, she loved it. My sister loved it. I guess that's all you can really ask for and go by. The truth is that I love a great artistic, creative experience. And part of that sometimes when you're the subject is honoring that that's what you are, and that it's not your thing to control. This film is not my vision. This is Chris's vision. This is just, I'm just a party to this because it's my life. And I told him when he could come in and film. And there was very few times that I think I told you no. Were there? Am I lying?
I mean, we kind of had an agreement
He's
at
like,
the beginning.
actually.
No, it was an understanding that I would always shut the camera off if you asked me to right away, and that was important right off the top, and I told her, I'm just going to shadow you, and I'm going to shoot everything I see, and if you don't want me to, immediately I'll shut it off, because she has complete agency.
I wonder what you would have shut off, because there's a lot of really raw moments in there, there's obviously beautiful family stuff, and I also really like seeing that Italian-American girl. Like, I like seeing that girl being herself, but there's a lot of raw humanity in you in this film, and you chose not to shut it off then. So what would have been shut off?
Well, quite simply, if I was in a state of mind or a place in that moment where I just didn't want a camera in my face and I was very aware of him there, I would say that would be the main reason, is that I was overwhelmed and needed space.
It's an interesting time in your life, too, that you're documenting.
It's a wonderful time and a very real time. it's been almost exactly 10 years since this all started, and I was making music long before then. So it's kind of incredible to be doing this, and I'm very grateful that I have such talented people in my life that are interested in telling the verite behind me.
Was it a challenging time?
Yes, but I mean, that's not to say that there were not extreme highs, and my life has completely changed in the most wonderful way that I would never take back, but for sure, it also included the lowest lows.
It's an interesting balance of exploring your family, exploring the Joanne in the story from the album, exploring, even going into record stores, talking about the record business, even playing clips of people criticizing the album. Like, a lot of that stuff was there. Was that a difficult time to go through?
You know, it's always personal when you put something into the world because it's your creation and you want people to love it simply as a gift that you give them. Like, I made this for you, I love you, I want to entertain you. That's always my goal when I'm creating things. So, you know, you always want as many people to love it. But I wouldn't say that it's because of what that means for me. It's more about my true passion as an entertainer. I truly love to make people happy through what I do.
And when it lands, it's pretty special. But when if you hear anything negative, how do you respond to that?
Well, actually, I mean, it always lands, no matter what. Because whether a few people don't like it and some people like it, there's always going to be someone that doesn't like what you do. And I'm not in the business of trying to make you all like me. I'm in the business of creating fantasies and music and experiences and theater and art that inspires people, hopefully. And the most important thing to me in my career has always been spreading a positive message. And I'd say that's my most favorite thing about what I know I have heard this film to be about, is that there is a positive message behind it and me as a woman, and I'm happy to show that. I think it's important for artists, not just for me.
Right. In these times, too, is it even more important when it's a challenging time out there politically and socially?
Yes, but I don't think that necessarily this film is meant to be a political or social statement about what's happening in the world right now. I think you'd have to ask Chris. But,
Yeah, no, it's definitely not that, but I've
you
seen it
know,
as an artist and an artist's role in this time to kind of really be there for their audience.
You know, I'd love to say that that's what this is, but I didn't make the film, so it feels like a contrived answer because it's Chris's film. And the idea, I believe, you can answer, but what did you want people to feel from this movie?
Yeah, I mean, I think that you show so much humanity in the film, and because so many people look to you for direction, and it's just a fact, like people all over the world, you know, you never took for granted your position and your platform, and it comes out in your music and it comes out in interviews, but this was a way to kind of like consolidate a lot of that vision and let people have access to you as a person. And I think you know, in a lot of ways people will learn from it.
Yeah, there's empowerment in it, and that's, I think, a really important part. Is watching her and everybody around her do it.
Yeah, I mean, she's very aware of her role and her platform, and how young women and girls in particular see her, and she was, you know, aware of that throughout, even in, you know, in the making of the film. Not to say that she was doing anything in any particular way, but, you know, I could see that she knows that power and influence, and so, again, for young women and girls, I think that there's a lot of, there's just a story of what it means to be both powerful and vulnerable, and be generous.
And that's important, just to touch on that idea of vulnerability, you know. The most important thing to me in this whole process is that this film or documentary didn't come across like a big commercial for me of, you know, everybody watching it and seeing how perfect I am and how perfect my career is and how perfect every little thing that I do and touch is, because that is just simply not true. And that would be not in line with everything that I am as an artist. I think the most important thing that you can be is authentic, and Chris is certainly authentic, and the moments were all authentic.
This is a great moment where you talk about the Madonna situation, and I was like, oh shit, they put that in. You know, like that went in there. You probably don't know that it's in there, but it's in there.
Oh, I know it's in there. I'm just not sure what it's going to sound like.
I mean, you know what? I loved that moment as it was happening, and I wasn't even sure whether or not it would make it in the film. But for me, like, it felt like it was a way for people to really understand what kind of woman she is because of the position she took, and it was so measured and thoughtful. And you know, I knew people would like ping on it because it's kind of juicy, but really, it's not. It's not like that. It's actually about kind of morality, which I thought was cool.
There's a scene in the film where all of a sudden addressing the Madonna situation, and Lady Gaga just says, like, I'm Italian from New York. Like, if I had a problem with somebody, I'd tell it to their face. You know, and it was this really human, raw, just moment where somebody was saying, like, why are you coming down on me for this? I thought that was a nice phrase. We'll get a couple questions in here. Karen, you have a question, right? Yeah.
I'm from Billboard, and I also have a magazine called Samaritan Mag about giving back. So for Billboard, last night I saw the Grace Jones documentary, a premiere, you know, strong, iconic performance artist, and you know, you do touch a bit in the film about your influences. What are your thoughts about Grace Jones? You know, she's seen with the creative masks and hats and outfits, and for Samaritan Mag, you've changed so many lives, and I see it at your concerts. You know, people that perhaps were ostracized by their families, like, they have a place to come together and be themselves. You know, you've got this incredible foundation. We're seeing, you know, lately artists coming together for the benefit for the victims of Hurricane Harvey. What do you feel is the responsibility of artists, whether they have a small or big fan base, people that hang on their every word, to make a difference and to do something more than just create their music?
Well, that's a long question.
Grace Jones.
Start at Grace Jones.
Start with Grace
What would Grace Jones do? I love Grace Jones. I always have. She's a friend. She's a good person and a very strong woman. So I don't have a negative thing to say about her. In terms of what responsibility do artists have? Well, I guess the first thing I would say is I think we all have a responsibility to use our voices for positive. I don't think it's just my responsibility or just people that are celebrities or famous. I mean, social media, this is the first time that pretty much every single person in the public, if they choose, has a microphone to speak. Everyone should be using their ability to speak for good, not just us. Should we, and do I pay attention to what I say? Because I know people are listening and I know that I have a lot of followers. When I do, for sure I do. But the one thing I didn't agree with you on that you just said is, and you know, coming from Billboard, right, is do you have to do more than just make music? And you know, music's pretty powerful. It can be more powerful, and I would dare to say is infinitely more powerful than a tweet or an Instagram post with a selfie of me and a statement about what I think about the world. Music has the power to heal people in a way that it's vibrations, it's science. When music happens and it comes out of the speakers, there are things that happen in your body and in your spirit that are not the same as what you feel when you're reading the internet. So that's what I would say, is I would say that everyone should do their part, and that part of artists being good at what we do, I think, is making sure our perspective is strong in our music and that we know its power and that we use that power.
Yes, go ahead, sir.
Hi there, Sean Lee Dong with CTV News. There was a moment in your show last night where you read a letter from a fan named Danny. I was wondering what that experience was like for you, and if there's anything you'd like to say to Danny today.
That was a wonderful, heartwarming moment in the show. I am so, I am saddened on one hand to say how many letters like that I get of kids that are in pain, that are going through difficult life experiences, and yet I'm so grateful that I get to have that very close, intimate relationship with them, even on stage, where there's 15,000 or 40,000 people watching. Danny's letter was beautiful and very special, and what do I have to say to her? That, struggling in a family with addiction or loss or grief, or mental health issues, anxiety, these are serious things, and it's really good to reach out, and it's really good to tell your story. And I would just thank her today for sharing that story with me, and so openly kind of watching and letting me read it to that whole room so that they could be inspired by her strength. And that letter from Danny, that's exactly why I do what I do. I mean, if I had to put it in one moment, it would be the one that you saw last night.
Maury, go ahead. Maury, you had Anna first.
Lady Gaga, Damn It Maury from the Roz and Mocha Show on Kiss 92.5. First off, I want to say, my husband and I, you are our queen, so thank you very much.
Thank you.
Your music has brought us together and changed our life, so thank you.
Thank you, that's
This film looks so exciting. I cannot wait to watch this. I have to find out from you, would you say that this is recommended viewing for Netflix and chill?
Yes, I would, except it's not a series, so you can't binge watch it, but you can watch it all the way through. And but I haven't seen it, so I think it's something for anyone who wants to watch a documentary about a female artist.
And I think it depends on how you define Netflix and chill today. Go
Yeah.
ahead, ma'am.
Hi, I'm Julia Cooper from the Globe and Mail. Gaga, I was wondering what it was like to open up about the chronic pain that you've experienced, and also for Chris, what it was like to film those scenes.
It's okay. It's hard, but it's liberating too.
What was capturing those moments like?
Yeah, I mean, it was incredibly hard, just on a basic, fundamental human level, to be near somebody who's experiencing pain like that, and knowing that there's nothing you can do, and clearly there's nothing that they could do. At least it doesn't feel like they can at that moment, because they've been trying everything, and so it's beyond just filming. I mean, I felt compelled to continue to roll, and I knew that she wanted me to, because that was something of all the things I think that she felt should be included in the film. I think she was very aware about other people who struggle with similar chronic pain, and not knowing how they deal with it if she is not even sure how to deal with it. And I think that's a reality, is that even in her position, physical pain is disabling, and her way of trying to overcome it is just, I think it's impressive to watch.
Is there a catharsis for you in this project, going through this?
Yes, there is, because the main reason, knowing what you filmed, knowing what I know to be included in the film, because I was told that there were moments like that. There is an element and a very strong piece of me that believes that pain is a microphone, and my pain really does me no good unless I transform it into something that is. So I hope that people watching it that do struggle with chronic pain know that they're not alone. I hope that they see the message at the end of the film that I know to be there. I wanted that to be there for people to be able to reach out about mental health, anxiety, as well as chronic pain and mental illness. And, you know, it's freeing for me because, and I mean to say this because I want people that struggle with it to hear me, there is a degree of self-deprecation and shame that goes along with feeling in pain a lot. And I want people that watch it that think that there's no way that I live that way because they see me dance and sing and that it couldn't possibly be so, to know that I struggle with things like them and that I work through it and that it can be done and that we have to stick together and that I don't have to hide it because I'm, you know, afraid it is weak. It's a part of me and, you know, I'm grateful to Chris for caring. The compassion is overwhelming. That's why it makes me emotional. It's like very touching.
Thank you. Yes, go ahead, sir.
Hi there, Gaga. Sean Plummer from In Touch magazine.
Hello.
You've accomplished so much professionally, and this film showcases that. It also showcases your personal side. Personally, what do you hope to do in the next year, 5 years? What are you looking forward to?
I'm going to take a rest.
How long?
I don't know how long. That doesn't mean I won't be creating. It doesn't mean I don't have some things up my sleeve that I'm not going to tell you today. But I'm looking forward to reflecting and slowing down for a moment and healing because that's important.
It's a big part of this film too. It's where your life could be, where you want it to be when you hit a birthday milestone. That's a big part of this. Is it? When did that start to creep into your head?
That crept into my head before this film. You know, doing the Super Bowl this year was kind of like, as much as it was for the fans and as much as it was for the world, to entertain the world, as I said, this is my most important and favorite thing to do, is to entertain people and make them happy. It was also for me. It was like, I'm going to take this. Everything that I've worked for, that I've claimed, that I have believed in, the message that we've all spread together, I am going to put this trophy on the top of Everest and do it for myself. And it's almost like the Super Bowl and this film are like a hedge of protection on my legacy of the past 10 years. And it's a nice place to be because I am surrounded by such wonderful people.
Is it a validation? Is that important to you?
I feel validated from within.
Yeah.
I don't think it's healthy to look outside to other people for validation. I think it's much better to focus on the inside of you and validate yourself. I work hard and I'm proud of the hard work that I do.
All right. Thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
Thank you very much, Chris. We're out of time.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
everybody.